Okay, the other day I bought some leftover rotisserie chicken that Walmart tries to close out. You can see this one's still frozen. Normally this is like, I think $4.98 or something, like $4.98. Yeah, I think so. But I was able to pick them up for $3.24 each, already pre-cooked. So typically when I see something like this, I'll buy like 2 or 3 of them and actually put one in the refrigerator to be eaten that week, and I'll put 2 into the freezer to be eaten over the next week or 2. Because it's a great deal. I mean, it's pre-cooked chicken. All you have to do is thaw it out, microwave it, and you got a nice meal ready to go. Now, typically a whole chicken will last more than a meal. I often will take the meat out and just use it, you know, to cook up either the chicken by itself. I'll eat it as rotisserie chicken, and I'll often make the pepper sauce to eat with it. But you end up with leftover meat on the chicken itself. So here, you can see what's left of this particular chicken here. Try to open this up and show you what's left. But it's because, and there's still some meat here left. My wife actually took the chicken apart and pulled out some meat. So she's going to show us now. Is this something they do in Argentina or just something you do?
Oh, wait, no.
Okay, you do this in Argentina? She's going to show you, because she saw my little thing that I made with the tuna fish sandwich. And she's going to show you what they do in Argentina. You probably won't be too impressed. but I actually got her to the point where she's willing to let me film her hands on camera for YouTube. So this is the first, so stay tuned. So the first thing you do, or the first thing my wife's doing, is peeling and cutting the onions, okay? So she's just going to go ahead and peel it right now. You can see she peels very differently than me. Is this how they do it in Argentina, or is this just how you do it? She doesn't want to talk. She's got a sharp knife. I better watch myself. So, you know, I told her she could use a cutting board, but she says this is how she cuts. So it's a lot different than, obviously, how I do things. I think she's like doing her best not to make any sound. Oh, I guess this is what you would call dicing. Look at that. That seems kind of dangerous, though, you know? That's a sharp knife right there. A little paring knife. Well, that's certainly different than how I dice. I wonder if any of you viewers dice your onions this way. It's a lot different. To me, it seems a little dangerous, but I guess you need to really pay attention. But it gets the job done, right? So she's going to prepare the onions here, and let me show you a little bit about the chicken and just talk a little bit about it. You can see that this is the rotisserie chicken, and what she did was she actually pulled the meat off, and she said that a lot of times when you pull the meat off that rotisserie chicken, she feels that it's not cooked well enough. So she actually has already preheated this and cooked it up a little bit more. So she's preparing the onion right now, and we'll be adding it to this. Okay, so what she's showing right now is actually after dicing the onions, she washes it, and she says she does it twice. And why is it that you wash the onions? Just to get rid of the smell? So she says after dicing it. Now that's different than me too. I typically, you've seen me, actually you haven't seen me because I haven't had anyone to film me. Although I think the other day I did. I had the camera on a tripod. But anyhow, typically I wash the onions before I cut it or after I get the skin off sometimes. And then I dice it and I don't wash it again. But she, you know, is saying that she will actually wash it twice to help get rid of the smell. I don't know if you can hear me kind of sniffling and stuff in here. It's, the onion is very, very strong. She also says that by washing it, it makes it taste better, so it's not as hot, not as spicy. So I guess it subdues the flavor a little bit. Me, on the other hand, though, I actually like it nice and hot, so we have a little bit of a difference of opinion here on flavor. Okay, believe it or not, guys, this is fresh parsley. I didn't know this, but my wife was telling me that she actually grew this in Walter's yard. We've got a little garden going on back there, or evidently she does. And she's been growing fresh parsley. So I'm actually very impressed with her. Woo! Growing our food. So we have fresh parsley. Thank you to Walter and his yard. And my wife, who was thoughtful enough to actually grow this stuff. And I'm pretty sure for those of you who are watching this, you're impressed that we're putting more in than just Badia. Which is like what I put in everything. So we've got, right now what we've got going on, we've got the Walmart rotisserie chicken ripped up and shredded, and some twice washed diced onions, and some fresh parsley from Walter's yard. Okay, I've taken out the bread here. You'll notice that the bread is actually frozen. And what I typically do is I buy the bread and freeze it to make it last longer. And what she's going to do is actually take the bread, and she's going to put it in the toaster here to kind of thaw it out and have it toasted. So, now do you normally make this with toasted bread, or it doesn't matter?
No, because it's frozen.
Okay, so she's doing this just because I have the bread frozen. Normally she doesn't do this, but I guess it'll taste really good with, you know, I like my bread toasted, so this will give you a nice toasted sandwich here. Okay, another ingredient that is that makes it taste even better is the tomato. We have some fresh tomato that I picked up earlier today. I don't know how fresh it is, but I did pick it up this morning at Walmart. I made a run over there just to get some fresh tomatoes. And what my wife is saying is that for the tomatoes, you don't really add this until you're ready to eat it. You don't want to mix it into everything unless you're eating it like right now. And so she's adding some of the Walmart mayo right there. It looks like 2.5 tablespoons of mayo, maybe even more, 3 tablespoons of mayo. And she's mixing that in right with the onions and the parsley. You can hear our toast popping up. And should be adding in the chicken. I'm already salivating. Looks good. So essentially she's making a chicken spread. It's actually quite similar to the tuna.
Primavera de pollo.
Yeah, the tuna sandwich spread that I made the other day, but this one's made with chicken, which is actually a very good idea. You know, if you can pick up that chicken like I did on discount, which Walmart does if nobody buys the stuff, they put it in the frozen area and they sell it on discount. So you can get like a really nice chicken sandwich here. And you use tomato, but you also use lettuce, because I have lettuce too, and that I think would make it taste really good.
You can put whatever you want, but this.
Yeah, now she says for you just use tomato, you don't use lettuce.
No.
So I'm probably going to have lettuce on mine, but I guess it's got mixed in parsley. Very simple ingredients also, and looks like it already looks delicious. Doesn't that look so good? And you can just spread it onto your bread. It's certainly a lot thicker than the tuna. And you slice a tomato. It's interesting watching how she cuts. You know, I guess some people are more comfortable with cutting the knife towards themselves. Me, I always set the stuff down on the a plate, you know, or on the table, cutting board, and cut it. But she actually holds it in her hands and cuts. Wow, you adding more?
A little
Wow, this is like a meat lover's sandwich. You must be really hungry. And voila. Wow, doesn't that look good? I'm going to make one and have some lettuce with it. And I think this will be terrific. Looks like a really delicious looking lunch. Didn't really take that long to prep because the meat's already done. I'm slicing and dicing the tomatoes and the onion, parsley. Didn't take too long. And I suppose you could save this. You can save the mix, the meat and stuff for use later.
Yes.
Just put it in the refrigerator.
Yes.
And then you don't add the tomatoes though until you actually.
Because you're gonna keep this. If
Yeah.
you want to eat right now, the tomato you have to put just.
Right. So yeah, you can save the meat and stuff, and then just put it on when you're ready to eat. But the tomatoes themselves you want to add right when you're actually ready to eat it, because otherwise I think it'll get soggy and really not so good. But I'm going to go ahead and prepare my meal and give you guys a taste test. Alright, got busy talking to my wife and actually forgot to film my infamous taste test. But you can see for my version, I took the spread and I put down some a slice of tomatoes and some what's this stuff? I put down some what is that stuff called? My brain. Oh, cabbage. No, lettuce. And that's pretty much it. A very good sandwich. And you want to add like the lettuce and the tomatoes right before you eat it. You don't really want to pre-make that part because it would go really soggy. Probably not taste so good. But this is terrific. It's a really good meal. Great way to use up that cheap meat that you can get on discount from Walmart. And you can actually save the mix and use it over the course of 2 or 3 days. So just seal it, put it in your refrigerator, and you can make yourself a really quick sandwich whenever you're hungry. Excellent value and a terrific meal. Delicious. This stuff is so good. Until next time, everybody, I hope you're all eating well, picked up some ideas, and bon appetit.